Hello and welcome to the Sligo show once again here with myself, Brendan Tierney. We are back again for a new season of interviews and chats, and we've moved around a little bit, not too far up the road. We're up here in Lily's Cocktail Bar up on Stephen Street or Bridge Street, whichever door you go in, and we're here in their lovely upstairs area. And our first guest this season is a good friend of mine and a face well known to many of you, whether you've been in the Hawksville at the Hospital Panto or if you've had the misfortune to be down the hospital, you might have met our guest here, Deirdre Staunton. Deirdre, you're very welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brendan. It's great to be here.
It's very weird, the two of us are good friends, as I said, for ages, so it's like we're having a chat. But the reason we have you on here is you're doing a marathon in a month.
That's right.
Okay, and there's obviously a reason why you're doing that. So before we get to that, tell us a little bit about yourself for anyone that maybe half knows you or maybe knows you well.
Okay, well, Deirdre Staunton is my name, as you have said. I have been in Sligo really mostly since 1987, so I've been longer in Sligo than I have been in Mayo, but I still am a true Mayo person.
Oh, well, we know that.
I'm a wife and mother of three and have worked, as you said, there in the hospital, really since 1987 I've been there. And that is it.
In a nutshell, and as I said, a lot of people would definitely know the face from the Hospital Panto.
Yes,
it's in the Hawksville for how many years? That's over 20 years?
Well, I suppose the Hospital Panto got together, it first started 23 years ago.
Okay, so you've been a strong force, whether on stage every year, I'd say, have you?
Except for the years I was pregnant.
Right, we'll let you off on those ones.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, just couldn't. So there was 2 years I missed it because of pregnancies.
Ah, okay, so hopefully back again soon. It's obviously been no Panto for a couple of years, so
that's right,
roll on soon again.
Yeah.
So I suppose the reason we started to chat, you're doing your marathon a month, it's in aid of the Irish Cancer Society. So obviously something, you got your own news back in 2021 with your diagnosis. So do you want to tell us all a little bit more about what was that and how it happened?
Okay. So I was a very active person right up until March 2021, and prior to that I would have been somebody who was working full-time every day, very busy with the kids, running and racing with them to their various sports. Having some time with my friends, you included. Very active in drama groups. I'm in 2 drama groups. One is the Hospital Musical Society, as you mentioned there, and the other one is the Colliery Drama Group. And then in other times when I wasn't involved in drama, I'd be out walking the roads or running the roads and like to climb some mountains and very active. But that changed a little bit prior to March 21 was when I had some investigations done in the hospital. But prior to that, I suppose it was the summer of 2020, I first noticed a slight change, but nothing that I was worried about in my conditioning. But I thought maybe it was because I was now 50 and an asthmatic since I was a child, and I was putting it down to the fact that I probably had poor control over my asthma and would need to see my physician again in the hospital. Okay. So I suppose we were camping in Cork. I had a sea swim, and when I got out of the sea, I couldn't walk for about, I'd say, half an hour to 45 minutes. I was just on the strand, unable to move, and I didn't know why. And that summer, while I was running, I noticed I was carrying the Ventolin inhaler. Then I nearly was sucking it throughout the run to try and improve the breathing while I ran. And summer came and went, and the autumn came, so I wasn't doing quite as much running, but would have been walking with a good friend of mine who was sick and tired of listening to me talking about being tired. And I was putting that down to my age once again. I thought this tiredness must be hormone imbalance. And she convinced me then around about November, December that I needed to see somebody. So I took her advice, but of course didn't make the appointment with my GP until the February. And in the interim, I noticed when I was running, as I have said, but round the town in my running, I was very slow, doing my usual very fast circuit.
And you were all fast, energetic, bubbly woman, full of beans.
Yeah, so
you
I was
would really
still doing
notice
it.
a drop,
Still doing it, but I noticed I used to have to stop at the race course before I continued on the run, and it was strange. And then at work, I noticed that I was getting a little bit more short of breath, especially when I was responding to my emergency bleep. So by the time I'd get to the floor where the emergency was, because I would always use the stairs and not the lift, I was the person who needed resuscitation by the time I arrived, never mind trying to help the team. So it was a bit strange, but nothing I could put my finger on. It never entered my head that there could be something any more sinister going on in my lungs than asthma. So I it was March. I had climbed Knocknarea, which I found difficult, and I had climbed a local mountain in Calry, which I didn't find as difficult as the people that climbed with me that day, because they were all post the night before Paddy's Day hangover, and they were terribly ill on the way up, whereas I used a stick and I stopped, but I was short of breath. So on the 19th of March, I had been referred into hospital for an x-ray. So I went, had my x-ray done, and that was at 10 o'clock in the morning. It was my birthday, and I had told the family to be ready, that we were going to do something energetic, some sort of activity to celebrate the 51st birthday. And I didn't get home till about 10 o'clock that night. And that's when they discovered that I had cancer.
Right, they could tell it that quick from the x-ray, so?
Oh, they could tell it that quick from the x-rays. And I had a scan. I must say I was looked after. I couldn't find fault with the care that I got and the investigations that were done immediately for me in Sligo University Hospital. So it went from the chest x-ray to a scan in the early afternoon that day.
I mean, not to be like the dramatic, obvious chat question, but what's it like to get that? Is it the obvious power? Is it nearly like is it surreal? Is there disbelief, or what was?
Of getting a diagnosis like that?
Yeah, I've been told that going in the morning and hitting it. Was it just a power blow?
The breaking of the bad news is terribly important for healthcare professionals to get right. And I would have spent years actually involved in simulations where we thought that, because I know how important it is to get it right. And the people that were breaking the news to me got it right. Okay. You know, they made sure that my friends were with me. I actually spent time that day with your good wife. Yeah. And they made sure that my husband was with me when I got the news.
Okay. Okay. And to tell us a bit more about the specific illness, I know this is something you want to kind of make people aware of. Yeah. Like, it's lung cancer. I mean, obvious thing everyone thinks of is, it must be from smoking or what. But what was your specific?
So the reality is, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to chat to you today, Brendan, was to get a message out there that if you have lungs, you can get lung cancer. Okay. You know, of course, if you expose yourself to smoke or radon or other chemicals, whether they're in the air or around us, of course that puts you more at risk. But in my case, I got lung cancer because of bad luck. I had a specific mutation on my lung cancer cells, and I've now discovered that since my diagnosis that there's a lot of different mutations out there that can affect lungs themselves and form tumours in non-smokers' lungs. You know,
so anyone is susceptible to just bad luck. As you said, bad DNA.
Once you have lungs, you can
possible.
get lung cancer. Wow. So the awfulness is that I know all of this now. The awfulness is that there's no national screening for lung cancer. It's kind of like the bad cousin of all the cancers. You know, there's a lot of media attention for breast cancer, and rightly so, of cervical cancer, of prostate cancer, bowel cancer. There's a lot of work done nationally for that and internationally. When it came to lung cancer, even though lung cancer kills more people than any other sort of cancer, there's no national screening. So I have discovered, since I have joined some of the cancer groups in this country here, that a lot of us are young people and younger than me. We've been picked up at a late stage in our cancer, and a lot of us aren't smokers. And I discovered that, to my horror, through the different groups that I have been speaking to since my diagnosis. So I would like to raise awareness of that for the public. It's unfair that people, you know, go through life and don't realise that, you know. There's a possibility of it. Because it was something that I never entered my radar. Yeah. I was thinking cervical cancer, so I was getting the screening. I thought breast cancer, so I was having my screening as recommended. Never thought about lung cancer. Yeah. And
so it's something you believe they should start screening for, or is it impossible to screen for?
I think so. Well, you don't want to cause complete, I suppose, pandemonium, anyone who has a cough at all, particularly now when a lot of people have coughs post-COVID. Yeah. But it's important for people to realise that if you're not feeling right, you know, go to a doctor and explain exactly what it is. I went to the doctor and I was talking about my asthma getting worse. I was all about my asthma. And only for my good friend insisting that I go to a doctor, I mightn't have gone to a doctor yet, you know. So it's really important to listen to your body and don't put things down to the change of life or the fact that you're getting older. You know, if there's something wrong, just get it seen to.
Yeah, get it checked out.
Funny enough, even if I suppose had gone earlier, they may not have screened me for lung cancer because I didn't fall into the category of being the smoker. So it is something that is overlooked. So I would just like to raise awareness.
So if someone is in your situation, don't be afraid to push for the questions and push for the scans.
Absolutely.
And,
say the words,
yeah.
and push for the X-ray.
Okay.
That's the important thing, is the X-ray, and to get it read by the radiologists, because they will see the abnormalities straight away.
And even if it's just to clear your mind, if it's hopefully it's clear that you go, I want to get that to know that.
Yeah,
okay.
Insist on an X-ray.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are probably too polite when they go in. They go, the specialist, well, they don't recommend it, so I won't. But if you don't feel happy in your body, I suppose, just
absolutely.
push for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're nearly a year and a half since you got your diagnosis. Like, what's your highs or lows? Or, I mean, again, I'm not trying to get too deep or personal, but like, I know you had the little climb up. No, get up to, you climbed, the gang climbed Ben Bulbin and that, wasn't it? There was a crew did that with you.
Yeah, well, I didn't climb it now, but my friends in the Hospital Musical Society, because last year was our second year without having panto, one of the guys decided that he would write a panto specifically to suit something outside. So, and you actually had a cameo role in that pantomime, but it was all relayed online, and the finale of that particular panto, because we had it in 3 different episodes, and the finale was a song and dance on top of Ben Bulbin, a coordinated.
Yes. And you were the evil Queen Maeve in it.
So I was the evil Queen Maeve. So I didn't have to climb. I had my work done on the surface, on the flat. Yeah.
And we used the Sligo Show studio, wasn't it? I forgot that actually. Yeah.
Yes, the first scene was done in the Sligo Show studio.
So it was good fun. So I'm sure that was great fun, and all your friends rallying around to do something.
It was fantastic, and that was one of the highs. Actually, was seeing how people supported me, and and it's And again, like I've said, like, do you like to talk about, when people get cancer and people go, should I go near them, or do you rather go, just come in and talk normal to me and have a cup of tea, or do you like to kind of, or do you have different days? That's a great question, actually. Yes, because pre my diagnosis, it's not that I would have avoided people who had cancer, but I would have felt so awkward. I would have talked about anything but their cancer. Yeah. Because I was of the impression, sure, they'll bring it up if they really want to talk about it. Or I was afraid that they would get upset if I mentioned it. They're not dead.
I know.
It's okay to mention it. So I think, the first time you meet somebody who's out and about, and if they don't avoid you, it means it's okay. So I think it's good to talk about the elephant in the room, and you don't have to be asking them their details, but you can just say something like, I'm sorry I got such shocking news. I'm sorry I got that news. I heard about your news. Something like that, just to acknowledge it. And then the door is open, or the window is open, if they want to elaborate, because maybe that's a day that somebody really wants to
They might need a chat, but if, as you said, they'll get the hint.
Or it might be a day that they don't. They'll just say, thanks for acknowledging that.
And how's the kids? And
change let's move on.
Okay. It's kind of good to know, because I mean, it's always, as you said.
That's just my that's just my take on it. Other people who are diagnosed with cancer may be completely different. So this is just my take on it.
I know what you mean. I know there's a few obvious local supports in Sligo Cancer Support Centre. Have you used any of the local supports like that? Or?
And I must commend Sligo Cancer Support Centre, because it was a huge support to me. Even though I have such a huge network of people that are a great support too, but they were somebody I didn't know, and I rung them up and I got help straight away with counselling and with some bioenergy and and now with mindfulness that I'm doing weekly with them.
Do you find those, let's call them alternative methods, very helpful, I imagine?
Our supportive methods, I call them, along with your
treatment.
Medical treatment. It does help to get other supportive therapies like that, absolutely.
And they're just over there on Wine Street.
Wine Street, absolutely.
And I've been in once or twice. We were doing something with them before, and they're just very warm and friendly, and a lovely space as well.
Oh my gosh, nice. Absolutely. It's a fantastic resource for us here in the town.
So you are currently raising funds for the Irish Cancer Society. So you're doing a marathon in a month.
Marathon in a month.
Okay.
And I agree. A whole 30 days to do 42 kilometres.
But you're doing a little bit every day. But I know, was it a few months ago? You had another little moment which makes this marathon in a month even more significant that you're doing it. So again, if you want to kind of just
so I suppose the people won't think I'm a complete lazy bones, but Prior to this, I would have spent the month of July, as you know yourself, training for the Warriors Run, because I loved the Warriors Run in August in Strandhill. So I would have been clocking up the mileage now and clocking up the inclines out in Strandhill in the evenings, getting ready, you know, for the big run later on in the summer. But this year, in April, now that was never going to enter my radar since I got diagnosed with lung cancer. Although I was back running a couple of kilometres without.
Of all the people I know, you'd be like, you definitely have the energy to keep going.
Yeah, I actually got back. Eventually, after 12 months, I was back running without stopping 2 kilometres. And I could push it to another kilometre, but I'd have a little stop and get myself together, and then I go. But on April the 30th, while driving just past Lily's here, actually, just outside the door, I had collected my son from the Rovers game. I just got very dizzy outside the door here while driving the car. I'd had a perfect evening, had finished a run, did a long walk in Strandhill, and I just got really dizzy driving the car. And I was going particularly slow because passing the pubs at night, I'm always wary of people that might stumble out in front of you. Yeah. So I couldn't have been doing more than 8-10 kilometres an hour. And when I got this feeling that I was dizzy, and I was never dizzy before, so it was a very strange feeling. I didn't even know what it was. But I just felt odd. So I stopped immediately, the far side of the pedestrian crossing there. Stopped immediately, turned off the ignition of the car, pulled up the brake, and put down my head because I didn't know what was happening. To make a long story short, which I find very difficult to do, because I like a long story, but I was diagnosed with a stroke. And that has slowed me down, probably more than the cancer, actually. Isn't it yeah, because it left me non-driving for more than 2 months, etc. But it's the fatigue I'd have now and the inability to walk, not be able to walk more than, I'm actually up, I can walk 20 minutes now. Okay. But at the start of this month, I was only able to walk 10 minutes at a time. So when I came across one night on Twitter, the Irish Cancer Society were doing some fundraising, and it was called Marathon in a Month. Yeah. And I realised that you could actually do your 42 kilometres over the month of July. Okay. I thought, well, do you know what? Just in case I might start feeling sorry for myself and definitely missing the running. I mean, that was a big thing. I really miss being out and about. I decided that I would dedicate the month of July to this marathon. So I do a little bit every day, and I post my progress on the site that the Irish Cancer Society has set up. So I'm currently at 21 kilometres out of 42. So, and that was with sometimes having 2 walks a day. But I'm getting there, and I will definitely finish it. At the beginning, I didn't think I would. I thought I would have to go into August. But no, I will have the marathon complete in July.
Very good, very good.
And we're raising
well, we're going to share the link afterwards for people to
the Irish Cancer Society.
Yeah, so it's all going to them. And as I said, you have friends joining you each day, or do you do it on your own some days? Or you probably have a list of people going, can I come with you?
Well, do you know what? I was laughing one night. I thought, is this going to turn into a climb with Charlie? But then somebody else put me right last Friday after she had done the walk with me, and she said, no, Deirdre, this is more like a dawdle with Deirdre than a climb with Charlie.
So dawdle with Deirdre for the Irish Cancer Society.
So dawdle with Deirdre. So most days I'll have company coming out with me, you know, friends, neighbours, you know, people I wouldn't have seen in ages are just ringing me up and saying, do you want company tomorrow? And we're literally just doing 10 minutes. Now, the talking is getting so good that it's gone on to 20 minutes. Okay. But I'm still not getting more than maybe a kilometre and a half done, you know.
Okay, so a little bit of a burst now. And you'll have to take the day off then to watch Galway in the All-Ireland final as well. Of course. We have a big Galway-Mayo rivalry here between us, so there's always that bit of fun and banter.
Yes, of course I will. Yeah.
Well, just before we let you go, is there talk of some show in the pipeline? Is that it?
Yes, so this is, I suppose, for the first time I've been publicly raising awareness of lung cancer. But in January of next year, I'm hoping to bring the play, The Calendar Girls, to the Hawkswell. And that, once again, will be a fundraiser for the Irish lung cancer community, who are in their infancy at the moment, but a really good group. And they're seeking charitable status as we speak. So they're going to be very influential on people's lives, people who have lung cancer. And I'm just going to, on those occasions in the Hawkswell, use it as a vehicle just to once again raise awareness for lung cancer. Yeah.
Great. Well done. Well, so look, as I said, despite all your little knocks, you're the energetic Deirdre. Always keep it battered through. Whatever the barrier is, you keep moving through.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, look, it's been a pleasure having you, a good friend of mine, on our show.
Here. I can't believe it.
And look at hearing your story and like look at, I mean, keep the smile on your face and keep the energy up. And
thanks, Brendan.
Sure, no doubt, we'll see you very soon.
Absolutely. Come on, Galway.
So if you liked what you just seen, don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel here. We've loads of great interviews from a load of really interesting people over the series. And if you're on social media, which I'm sure loads of you are, we are on Instagram and Facebook, so give us a follow there.